Alright guys, here we go. Star Wars Realm. This is a look back at the season, and this will be going over the first week, which is Episode 1, The Launch. First up, we will start with the pregame setup, starting with the setup of your Force users. So, for all the people who set up with the dark side, we'll start with Addison, who chose the ability of Force Attunement, even though afterwards he realized that he wasn't really going to be using it that much at the very beginning, so he kind of screwed himself over. Then Chase, also with the dark side, chose Blitz. Devin with Rage Sustainment, which means that if he dies, he won't lose any vitality, and so basically his character is immortal. Also, back to Blitz with Chase, it means that any of his units can move with him, alongside him, as far as his Force user can move. Mike picked the power of Subjugate, which allows the attacking city, or makes the attacking city that he is attacking with his Force user weaker in power. And then Tyler chose Dark Power, which makes his units stronger in power. The ability or the abilities for the Force users on the dark side are only available on the tile that the actual Force user is on. So they're very strong abilities, however, they can only apply to one tile at a time. Now, for the light side, there was only one other player that chose this, and that was Nate. He won't be able to use any abilities at the beginning of the game. However, when he does level up and gets to choose abilities, his abilities will be able to apply to all of his units, not just the units on his Force user's tile. So here's how the attack, defense, speed, and vitality build-up was for the players. Addison and Chase both tied it up with 3, 1, 4, and 1, doing a lot of speed with some attack and not very much defense or vitality. Devin, who put his ability into Rage Sustainment, has 1 vitality, but then he put a lot into attack and some into speed as well. Mike kind of evened it out across the field, gaining a little bit more defense than the other attributes. Nate, who picked the light side, had to start off with less abilities, or less force points. So he is only starting at a 1-2, 1-2. And then Tyler, who went with the dark side and also an attacking power, which makes his units more powerful, for some reason put all of his extra points into defense. I don't know why, I don't understand that, and I don't think he understood that at the very beginning either. Here's the start of the map before any of the game starts or any of the week start. Only the colored tiles are actual owned tiles by players. The black tiles represent space and the white tiles represent land that has not been taken yet. From the top, we have red with Addison, blue with Chase, green with Devin, orange with Mike, brown with Nate, and yellow with Tyler. And yes, those are in alphabetical order going clockwise. It's also good to note that on the battle map, there are uncharted planets, which you didn't see before on the map that everyone saw, because these uncharted planets are invisible to everyone until they have a ship that goes over the land, in which they're giving a choice to sort of figure out why their radars are detecting an anomaly that they don't know why. And if they are given that chance, then they will stop whatever movement they are for that turn and go and discover that island or that planet. If they do discover it, that planet won't show up until they take land. So they will know where it's at. However, no one else will unless the land is taken, in which it will be revealed for all the players. So going back, this is all of the planets that they see, even though there are extra planets that aren't shown on their picture. It's also good to note that any of the white cities that haven't been taken yet aren't just free and open cities to take. They each come with some defense in the form of the amount of units that they would normally give per turn. So each of the outposts give 10 defense, or come with 10 units that are defending them, and each of the bases come with 25 defending units. And the temples who give no units have no units to defend. Alright, time to start the game. This is the battle plans, the very first week with everyone's moves. This will be the entire battle map. This is something that I put together to be able to go back and make sure that all the interactions are happening and that nothing is missed out on for the whole game. Alright, first off is Addison, who is first off upgrading this outpost to a base and building a new outpost here. And then also taking his force user, loading him onto a ship with 50 other units and attacking the middle area. So now he is the first person to gain area into the middle land, which in my opinion is a good move. Chase is playing more sort of defensive at the moment. He's going to start off by putting some defense into 2 of these outposts and building up a ship with no plan to move it right now. He's also moving his force user onto a ship and going to tile in the middle of space so that he can have a direct line to this planet, since he didn't have a direct line to that planet any other way. Devin is playing pretty defensive, only putting some defensive units into these 2 outposts and some units into this outpost to upgrade it, as well as moving his force user down to this outpost, with the plan of building up a ship right here or here to move down to the side planet. Nate is also playing pretty defensive, only with some upgrades, moving his force user into this tile and building up his ship. Now it's good to note that Nate, Devin, and Chase have made an alliance together at this point. Their plan is to overtake the other 3 players and hope that they squabble amongst themselves while they take land into their own gain. The problem with this is that all 3 of them played very defensively this turn, and none of them really gained any land, or gained land at all, some minor upgrades, but right now no one is attacking anyone else, so they are playing more of a defensive game rather than gaining land to be offensive against the other 3 players. This was also pretty relatively found out by Addison whenever he was messaging Chase. If you can see, he already figured out that Chase aligned with Nate once again. And finally, we have our first battle. Tyler, not realizing that his force user had to start in the temple and only having 1 speed, decides to keep his force user in the temple at this moment, but loads up 50 units onto a ship to attack Mike. So he is attacking Mike here, and Mike unknowingly is trying to upgrade that, but because Tyler is attacking with 50 units versus Mike's 10, which with the added bonus of defense from the outpost would only be about 12.5 units, is not going to be able to defend against Tyler. So he's going to lose that land, and Mike is also moving his force user down to this tile. And as a result, here are the major changes of the week. Other than all of the upgrades, Addison gained some land on the middle planet, with most of the resources, most of the outposts and bases in the area, and Tyler gained some land against Mike. Also, each week, the players have the ability to upgrade their Force user by participating in Force rituals. Everyone who participates in a Force ritual will get 1 Force point to put into their Force user, and the winner of the Force ritual will get 2 points. So this first one was to build a lightsaber hilt. Didn't necessarily need them to include the blade in case they didn't want to give away which side of the Force they went with, but the hilt could be anything from as rudimentary as a stick or as developed as they wanted it to be. So here's the standings with those. And last place was Tyler with just having a beer bottle for a hilt. Not necessarily that creative, but I'll take it. It was fine. Devin having some toilet paper tube with some marker, also fine. Getting a little bit more creative. Nate, I don't know exactly if he made this or if he just found something that looked kind of stick-like, but it works for me. He also added some blue lightsaber blade for a little bit of effect, even though it's pretty cheap. Mike upgrades a little bit more with some tinfoil and some nice tape work. Then for a funny factor, Addison adds in some unique hilt with not very much combined, but to note, it does include a crystal, which would be considered a Kyber crystal, which was pretty good for the challenge. But the winner of the challenge was Chase, who had a lightsaber that doesn't really come out in the picture too well, but the picture that was originally sent just evoked magic or uniqueness from the blue light that was coming out of the hilt that just really felt like this could be something with magic or power inside of it. And it really felt pretty good. So Chase is the winner for the Force Ritual this week.